Welcome back, Leggari Nation. In this video, we will show you a simple technique that you can do over your existing countertops. We use our epoxy with Leggari Effects to get this look. We top coat half the board using our gloss urethane top coat and the other half using our matte urethane. Let us know in the comments below which one you prefer. Now let's get started.
So for this board, guys, I'm going to be using our metallic epoxy, our dolphin gray universal pigment. The dolphin gray is the color. It's like a light gray. That's going to be our base coat, and then I'm going to use our white Leggari Effects and create just a really cool subtle marble technique, marble effect on this board. Very fast, very simple, and it's really easy to recreate. So what I'm going to do is get my epoxy measured out. So we need 4 ounces per square foot. This is roughly 16 ounces. So we need about 64 ounces of resin, and then whatever amount of resin we make, we need 5% of that of the pigment. So we have 64 ounces, 5% of that's, I think, like 3.1, 3.2 ounces. So we already have it pre-measured out, ready to be added to it. So what we'll do is pour this out, get the resin mixed up, add the pigment, mix that in, apply it on the whole board for our base coat, and then we're going to add the Leggari Effects out of the squeeze bottles. Probably blend that with the squeegee, hit it with some isopropyl alcohol, and then let it kind of do its thing, level out, marbleize. So we'll get started here. I'm going to add the part A, and I'm using the ratios 2:1 because the 4 mark is it right at 64 ounces. So on the 2 line, which would be the part A, because it's 2:1, I go to that 4. And then when I add my B hardener, which is the 1, I go to that 4 mark. It's good to slow down when you get close, kind of let the resin level out. So it's not on the line yet, but it will be. That's why you want to kind of stop it early. Now we'll add our B. Same thing with the B, even though it's more fluid. You want to stop it short, let it kind of level out, do its thing. All right, now we can add the pigment, because we already know we're making 64 ounces. So we'll get the universal pigment added. Now since it's so high to the top, I'm going to mix it on the low speed. Since we're not using a secondary mixing container, we're going to scrape these sides really good. So mixing, guys, make sure you're mixing for about 1.5 to 2 minutes. If you're using a secondary mixing container, that's always good. That'll minimize any soft spots or the resin not being thoroughly mixed, especially on the sides. Cool Leggari tip you've probably seen before, but for the people that haven't, we always carry around and have a bucket of denatured alcohol. This is how we clean off all our paddles. We just run it in here forward and reverse. As you can see, we've done it quite a few times in this batch here. Spin it in there, forward and reverse a couple times, and then we'll just clean off the shaft and then wipe off these guys real quick, and then we'll have a nice and clean paddle next time we want to go use it, because these guys aren't cheap, and it's that simple. And then we can just keep a lid on that way it doesn't evaporate out the isopropyl or the denatured alcohol, and you can reuse that multiple times. Okay, so I'm just going to dump a bead right down the middle. Try to keep it as even thickness as I can. Get a little extra on those edges. You can kind of see how the bead, the thickness is pretty even all the way down. And then 3/8 snap roller, de-shed. Obviously we want to get any loose hairs off of there. So I'm just cross rolling it. And so we obviously prime the MDF Just remember, if you guys aren't priming your sample boards, that wood's gonna wanna soak up some resin. So you might wanna make a little extra product. All right, so once we have it kind of spread out on the whole top, we can go around and we can hit our edges, make sure our edges are coated. So an easy way to make sure it's spread out good is just let the roller glide. It's not pushing none. It doesn't sound sticky. If I had a thick spot, it would start to build up and it would push in front of it. So if you have any of those areas, you want to roll them out better. All right, so now we're gonna hit the faces. Roll a little on the top, hit your face. All right, now we're ready to add the effects. So we always want to shake up the effects before we use them. Okay, so a lot of different ways to add the effects. I'm just gonna do some soft veining, and then I'm gonna blend it with a squeegee, and then we're gonna spritz isopropyl on it. It's that simple to create a real natural look. Notice I'm just kind of going with however I poured it out. Nice and subtle. The cool thing is if you want to add more, we can always add more. Just keep in mind you can't really take it away. And we can always blend it in more as well if we want to kind of mute an area. So I'm just going kind of anywhere it's missing. And I always like to come back and hit any spots that kind of flatten off and create like a circle, half moon. So you can see, guys, you can really fine tune it and you get those natural fracture veins out there. And obviously if you wanted to add more, you would just keep adding it. I'm just going for a real subtle vein look. So I don't think I'm gonna add any more. We'll just kind of blend some of these in a little bit more. All right, so we're going for small to medium drips. Always test spray. We're just gonna hit the whole surface. And then once that evaporates, I'll just mist it with denatured alcohol. That's gonna help the resin lay out glass smooth. So again, we'll let this sit for 5-10 minutes. Once that evaporates, mist it with some denatured alcohol, and then we'll just scrape the drips. And then I think I'm gonna do half of this gloss urethane, and then the other half matte, so you guys can kind of see the difference between the urethanes. But this looks beautiful. A lot of cool natural fracture veining throughout it. Real subtle, real elegant, and you guys saw how simple it is to do.